For the following exercises, use f of x equals x cubed plus 1 and g of x equals the cube root of x minus 1. And then we basically have 4 different questions. So let's just start with the first one on the upper left. We need to find f composed with g at x and g composed with f at x. And then we have to compare the two answers. Okay, so let's do f composed with g at x first. Now, if you've been with the playlist, you know that I hate this notation. I always like to work with the other notation. So I'm going to move that notation and put it into the other notation. If you look down here, this notation with the little circle in the middle is the same thing as the composite function notation with the parentheses, and that's the one that I generally like to use. I think it's easier to see. Just know that the first letter is always the outer function, and the second letter that they give you is the inner function, okay? So I'm just going to say that this is the same thing as saying f, because that's the outer comes first, f composed with g at x, or f of g of x. Okay. So now I can clearly see what's my inner function here. It's inside the parentheses, and the outer function is always on the outside. Okie dokie. So let's do this. Okay, so the inner function was the g of x. So with composite functions, we always work from inner to outer. And you're always going to plug in an input for the inner function first and solve. But however, we don't have a number here. They just gave us x. So for the first part, you're just going to literally just say what g of x is. G of x is the cube root of x minus 1. Now for the next part, you're going to use that answer and you're going to make it a new input. And you're going to plug it in for the outer function. So I'm going to take my outer function now, which is f. And any time that I see a x value, I'm going to plug in the answer to what was before. So I'm going to just plug in this value. It's the cubed root of x minus 1. So now let's try it out. Anytime that I see an x value, which is right here, there's only one of them, I need to plug in this whole thing. So I'm going to say the cubed root of x minus 1, and that's going to be cubed. And then plus 1. And now let's just do the math. So f of the cubed root of x minus 1, which is the same thing as f of g of x, because we're getting the final answer, which is the same thing as, f composed with g at x if you wanted to do that notation. They all mean the same exact thing. Knowing that cubed roots and cubing something is the inverse, it knocks out, the whole thing, and now you just have x minus 1 plus 1. Okay, well, minus 1, negative 1 plus 1 is 0, so this would literally just be equal to x. And that's the answer for the first part. Not bad. Now we just have to do the other one. Okay. So now, let's see. Now we got to do g composed with f at x. I'm going to immediately turn this into g of f of x because I can clearly see now that the f function is the inner function and the g function is the outer function. So I'm going to be working with f of x first. So for number 1, f of x is, it's just this, right? X cubed plus 1. Now I need to take that and plug it into my g function, which means that anytime that I see an x, which is right here, I'm plugging in this whole thing. So now I'm going to say g of x cubed plus 1 equals the cubed root, because that's the g function. I'm sorry I'm moving into a little bit over here, but we won't need as much room as we do for these. So now I'm going to be plugging in x cubed plus 1 minus 1. Do we see that, right? This part was being substituted for what the x was, because the x is now going to be x cubed plus 1. And now just simplify. So we have g of x cubed plus 1. This is the same thing as saying g of f of x, which is the same thing as saying g composed with f at x. And if I simplify this, let's see. We have a positive 1, minus 1, so that's 0. So this would be the cubed root of x cubed. And they go, boop, bye-bye. They're the inverses of each other. So in this case, you would still get x. And that is the answer to the first part. Okay. So notice something here. Even though we're doing opposite composite functions, they came out to be the same answer, which normally doesn't happen. Usually when you switch the composite functions, you get a completely different answer. So this is pretty not standard, all right? Now let's move on to this part, because this is kind of like a piggyback question off of this one. So now they're actually wanting you to find out what the answer is, because we now have actual numbers. We want to find f of g of 2, or f composed with g at 2, and then g composed with f at 2. Okay, so let's do f of g, f composed with g at 2. Okay, so this one, well, it looks like we already found out what the overall composite function was. That's this one, right? F of g, or f composed with g of x, equals just x. So I'm going to write that one down. From before, we know that f composed with g at x was x. This is the blueprint that we're going to be using. But now we actually have a number. But what is it equal to? Oh, it literally equals the same number. So if this one was 1, the answer was 1. If this is 2, the answer will be 2. If this is 3, the answer will be 3, etc., etc., etc. So what do you think this answer is? If we already did all the work over here, this would just be equal to 2. And that's the answer to the first part. And now let's try the same thing again for the other one. G composed with f at x. Okay, we need that to equal, this is g of f composed with 2, right? And now let's see. Oh, well, we did all the math already. We know that g composed with f at x equals just x. So it follows the same idea. If this was a 1, this equals 1, because it literally equals the same number. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, etc., etc. Here we have a 2. So what does our answer equal? A 2. And there you go. So this part was easy, because we did the hard part over here. Okay, now we're going with domains. What is the domain of g composed with f at x? So let's see, where was that one? That's this one on the right-hand side of the two questions that we had to do. Now, when we're taking a domain, always take it from your unsimplified version. Basically, before you started canceling stuff out. You see how we started canceling things out because this was the cube root and this was, x cubed. However, you should know, for domains, we always look for exclusions. Now, the good thing is that we're dealing with cube roots, right? If this was a square root, or literally just something without a number there, you would have exclusions. However, just know, and in big letters I'm going to put here, there are no exclusions for a cubed root. So you could have, negative values, you could have positive values. In here, the domain is all real numbers. So in this case, we're just going to put all real numbers. Usually they classify it as like an R, but I'm just going to put the actual word here. So what is the domain of g composed with f at x? It's just negative infinity if they wanted an interval notation, all the way to positive infinity. We have to exclude these, though, however, because infinity is just a theoretical concept, it's not an actual number. But all real numbers, you could have any number, plug in for x, 4 cubed roots. And then the same thing for this one. Since it was a cubed root and not a square root, and we have no fractions here, there's nothing with denominators, it's the same exact idea. There are no exclusions. Exclusions for cube roots. So all real numbers. So if you want to write all real numbers, or if you want to give domain notation, negative infinity all the way to positive infinity, that's the same exact answer as well. And there you go. Okay, guys, what do you think? This one was a little bit longer because we just had to do so many different things, but the parts, I think, were pretty good. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want more math videos coming your way. I thank you so much for that, and I will see you guys all in the next lesson. Bye-bye.